Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making these beautiful tulip cards from a stamp and die cut set that I got from Amazon. I love the tulip image from this set, but I have minor issues with how it stamps. As you can see here, there are areas that are missing ink even though I applied a decent amount of pressure on the stamp. To solve this problem, I use a fine tip pen to fill in the missing areas. I found some of the missing areas charming though, so I left those areas alone. Since I'm making several cards with this tulip set, I'm going to go ahead and do multiple versions of the stamps. I like the variety of images that you get from this tulip set because when you apply it to your card, I like to see that there are different directions and different movement to the flower, so it gives it more of a realistic look. And also to prevent ink bleeds in between each stamping, I like to use my chamois cloth soaked in water, and then I like to clean off most of the remnants of the black ink from my stamp itself. Since we have quite a bit to color, I would like to go in and use this set here and dip it into my ink set and then just go into the images and just swirl around to saturate the color into the image. As you can see, there's no rhyme or reason to it. In areas that I want it to be a little bit darker or have a little gradient in color, I use a smaller brush which has the same kind of tip feel to it, so then when I go in and blend in the color, it kind of gives it the same effect. I know it looks a little bit messy right now, but once I die cut this out and kind of cleaning up the image itself, it's going to look very clean and very precise. And if you're wondering what markers I'm using here, I'm using the Ohuhu markers that I got from Amazon. I find these very comparable to the Copic markers. Of course, they're not going to be exactly like the Copic marker, but considering the price and the quality, I stopped buying Copic markers, to be honest with you, and I just started using this one. I'm not very artsy enough to see the value in using Copic marker, and these gives me the same effect that I would need to make my card. I love the way these markers blend. As you can see, when you put in the dark color, it looks quite stark, but once you get a gradient of color in there, it blends in really well. And a lot of the background was already taken care of when I started using my ink to kind of blend it in with that brush earlier. So as you can see, it cut down a lot of the time it took for me to color this properly. Now all there's left to do is tape my die to the image itself and then send it through the Sizzix machine for cutting. This part is the best part. It's so satisfying just to pull your images out, but as you can see, it kind of shifted a little bit while I was on the Sizzix machine, so that's why I have to go in and kind of just cut out some of the white images that made it ways through. But once it's cut, it looks very nice and crisp and clean. This part can become quite tedious, but you know what? Seeing your image coming together, it's so worth it. So this is just a little details that I like to do for my images. So when it goes in a card, I like it so that when the person who receives the card flip it over, they see the same kind of color and not just a white piece of paper. So that's what I'm doing here. If the flower is yellow, I like to paint the back yellow, and if it's pink, the back, pink. And again, I'm going in and kind of fine-tuning my image again, just like I did earlier. I'm not the best colorist, but as you can see, just because I went in and kind of just use all different shades of green or different shades of pink or different shades of yellow, as you can see, it looks so nice and so realistic because the color blends really well. So I really highly recommend those Ohuhu marker. It's a trip saying that name, Ohuhu, but that's what they're called. And just like that, we are done with the cutting, so we're going to proceed on with more coloring the backside of the image. All right, more coloring. I know it's a lot of work that goes into these cards when you make them. Once I'm done, I like to keep my workspace clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to store away the die with my magnetic paper, as you can see here. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut my background for my card. I highly recommend you get one of these poking tools. They're amazing because it allows you to really push these image out. Before I used to use a tweezer and that became tedious. So I like that pointing tool a lot. And also that brushing tool, it helps you kind of get rid of all the finer things off of your die cut. And here I am on some of the more stubborn pieces. I'm using my X-Acto knife to kind of cut those out. In the beginning, I bought a Cricut just so I can cut these images out without buying all these different dies. However, I found that the issue is with these intricate dies, the finer details in the Cricut machine, it can't be easily captured, and also it causes a lot of jam in my Cricut machine. So now I just settle on just buying the die itself. Cutting is so much easier and the detail is beautiful. Now is my favorite part. Now it's time to design our card and assemble our images into our card. So as you can see here, if some of the flowers are too big, I cut them off and I kind of reassembled it. So in this case, I'm keeping one full image, then I'm cutting out the leaves from those flowers and assembling them so they look more like a bush rather than just individual flowers. Also, you can start layering the card here. It allows kind of like that peekaboo kind of effect. And also by putting foam tape in the back, you kind of give it that elevated feel so it makes it look more 3D. To continue with the 3D feel to this card, I die cut six version of the sentiment, I believe. And now I'm going to just glue them all together to give them that kind of like puffy look. By the way, I highly recommend this berry glue. It's really nice in that it doesn't crinkle your paper and it dries really fast and also it sticks very well. After I was done with the sentiment, I felt like it was missing something. I added a congratulation tag just to give it more dimension. And just like that, my card is done. Power of YouTube fast forwarding, right? Guys, literally this card took me forever. Alright, on to the next card. With this next project, I started with an embossed background. If you like the 3D embossed image background, I have a link in my description below. It's assembly time. This is my favorite part about making a card. It helps my creative juice flow, and also now I can finally see all that hard work that I put in earlier come to life. Again, you can use double-sided tape, 3D tape, or any kind of glue or anything that you may like to use just to give it like that pop dimensional look. In previous videos, I talked about the Wink of Stella dupe, so here I am using it on the embossed part of this card, just to give it a little wink. And to give it more of a wink, I'm now adding rhinestone to give it more sparkle. So sparkle and winks. Again, I'm adding my sentiment, one little one big one, just to give it that contrast. And again, I'm cutting multiple versions of hugs or whatever sentiment I decide to use to give it more of a pop, and then attach it to the card. All right, on to the next one. So this is also a die cut that I recently bought from Amazon as well. It gives it a very oriental feel. I might use the same die cut later on for my New Year project, so stay tuned for that. So again, I'm gluing down my flower. I can use glue, I can use regular tape, whatever you would like. Stagger it on and just create that kind of 3D effect that you want, and also add in your sentiment. I'm doing the same thing to this round version of another card. See, this poking tool is so helpful. It helps remove all these tiny little bits without having them fly everywhere. Aren't these flowers just darling? That you can arrange them so many different ways. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but I think I'm done with coloring tulips for a little while now. Alright, assembly time again, and of course I found that it does not fit my card because it's too long, so I just tape it on to the background itself, and then I ran through the scissors machine and just cut it out. Also with the sentiment, I embossed it this time. I was just gonna put it on there as that circle, but I found that it didn't stand out too much, so that's why I decided to put the same background as I used for the screen, and that way it matches and also it pops better, as you can see. All right, it's time to assemble the round card. As you can see here, I left a little lip at the top so that way you can open and close the card. This is what happened when you overanalyze your work. I didn't really like the last sentiment that I had, so I ripped it up and added a new one in. Much better. I always like a handwritten message to a card, so that's why I added that insert on the inside so you can write your message and it also look pretty. And there you have it, all the cards are done. Thank you for watching my video, and if you truly enjoyed it, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. I will be posting other card videos and also other craft ideas that I can share with you all. See you next time. Bye.